All right, this is recording 655. Okay, so, all right, I've got a lot of recordings to make. I'm going to try to break them into smaller pieces so they're not so long. Okay, so this first one is regarding a grain bin that collapsed in Iroquois County, Illinois. It says dozens of homes left without power, officials say. Okay, so I knew instantly when I saw green bin. Um, and then obviously by the GB. I know you've already figured all of this out. More to add to this, I lived in Iroquois County. I lived in Loda, which is next to Buckley, between 2002 2007. Okay, so the grain bin thing, okay. One thing to point about bin, so then you also have bin, okay. So bin, this is a word that Jean is using. You can tell Jean committed this crime because this is syrup, okay. And she's trying to make it look like it was my old roommate when I lived in Tulsa before Mario's best friend, Russell, is who she's trying to make it look like. But Jean can't help herself. You know how she loves to stalk my ex-husband. So you can obviously tell everything Ben, okay? But also to add to Ben, she's syruping the word Ben in computer terms, okay? You know how they have like informants or websites that have like bin web pages, like a document dump. Okay, so that's what she's referring to there. So what is she doing? Sending a signal to stop spreading around the Ted Kaczynski paper packets and the fake CGI that she's been sending around, spreading lies everywhere? Is she trying to communicate to people that see this article to stop? What is she doing? And she's hurting people. So anyway, and then grain, that would also go with a couple of different things. Obviously alcohol, that's her thing. Okay, so see everything that goes with grain, okay, besides the alcohol. And there's a lot of decoded ciphers that I did around it, that for everything from the wheat penny to, everything with grain, everything to her movie racket she's got going on, that she's been having going on since the 70s, probably the 60s too. So, and then her plans to do her Charles Manson occult, planning to con everybody into her rackets and hustling everyone. See all that decode. Okay, then also something else. Okay, so when I went to go look at this crime, I'm not even going to give you all the things in it that tell you that I know she did it, because it's not anything that you don't already know. It's like everybody that sees this already knows. They can pick all this out. You guys already can see that she committed this crime. So I'm trying to tell you what you don't know. So when I lived in Tulsa, I watched this show, and the show was it was a weird show. It was about how people get caught into death trap situations. And it was on, and then I watched another show, like several ways to like kill a person without anybody finding out and making it look natural. If you can believe there's a show like that, but there are shows for everything. So anyway, I was watching these shows and I'm like, this is weird. So the one thing that stood out in my mind in this show was this story, and that's probably standing out in my mind because she probably did it. Was this story of somebody who worked on a farm, and he went to go into the grain bin and he fell in and he got trapped in it and he couldn't get out. And the thing was like cycling or draining somehow, and he was going to die. And he got rescued at the very, 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 very last minute. Okay. So that thing that from the TV show that like has stuck with me forever. Okay. So then couple that with when my second husband and I went to California for vacation, we stayed at this hotel, and this has always stayed in my mind, and I can't find the news story that it goes to. I wouldn't even know how to even begin to find. And then somebody told me this happened so much you'd never even find it. But anyway, we stayed at this hotel, and there was a water tower, or it was like a water tank or water tower next to it. And then I don't know how, I don't know. All I can tell you is what my memory is, which my memory is not going to be exactly correct. I don't know how this information is in my brain. If I saw it, if I read it, or somebody told me, I don't know. But anyway, they found a deceased woman in the water. Well, that goes to her, and then also goes to you, future sign of Alice in Wonderland. You were receiving a death threat, and then that means they killed that woman too. She also used AI on my son to climb up a water tower. She also used AI to get a guy to climb up a water tower in Bartlesville, and he wouldn't come down. It was in the newspaper. I think it was a water tower, and he wouldn't come down. He was just staying up there, and they couldn't get him to go down. Then, so I mean, all those cases but the girl, she was found in there, and I don't know her status, if she was missing. I don't know what happened, but I know to go investigate that case. I think I've mentioned that case to you before, but that goes to this. So then I'm like, okay, I already know water is a theme of hers. And I already know the grain bins are a theme of hers. So I'm going to go see if there's more deaths like this. So then I went and did a Google search on grain bin deaths, and I looked at a couple of the articles, just like doing a sampling and going through. I could decode each one. So I'm like, this is a pattern of crime that she's committing. Every one of those deaths or accidents need to be investigated, because that would be the Charles Manson occult that committed those crimes. So she committed this crime also. And then also, her obsession with knocking people without power. Okay. So, and messing with people's electricity. So that is it for this recording.